before we jump into plants, I'm going to pull up the site plan here, and you can see that we have a gate here that's just behind a few of these plants, and I will explain very quickly how I did it. It's pretty straightforward, but I just followed the hardscape of the mulch here, and all it is a line that I drew, and here's the line. And so I drew the line and I extruded it up, and it's based off of this elevation right here. So here's the elevation. So we extruded it up, which is the same tools that we've been using before. I added a shell modifier, and a shell modifier is very nice because it gives it some thickness to anything that's a solid, just a plane. And I extruded it just 10 inches out, and then I added a UV map to it to get the scale of the bricks to match the building. The same thing with the cap. It's basically the same modifiers with the extrude and the shell. And in addition to the shell, I added a push modifier to give it a little more depth, just offset it from the brick wall. And then for the gate themselves, it's really pretty straightforward. All the gate is a line with an extrude, and you can see it's a line with an extrude there. And then for the pickets, it's basically just a line that's rendered. So, and you can see how crude some of the modeling is, but for rendering purposes, it will work, especially from our camera angle. It'll be exactly what we need. And so I went ahead and modeled that gate, and now we'll look at the plants. And so, as you can see, we have on our site plan, or landscape plan, landscape architects will put plants with different names, and right now I colored it just to make it easy to see that we have 3 different types of plants here. So these are the names of the plants, and I don't know what they are, but I searched them on the internet to see what they look like, and I came up with some photos that looks very similar to some plants that we have in our library. And so I will pull up some of these models that we have, and so I'm going to import and merge these files in, and here's one example. And if I turn off edges, that's what it looks like. So it gave me a good idea of what the plants look like, and I did that for all 3 of the plants that we have here. And so once you have these plants in, you can start populating them into your scene. It's important to know that the textures are linked correctly before you do that. So to do that, let's open the asset tracker. You can do Shift-T on your keyboard, or you can go to the jewel icon and then reference an asset tracker right here. Once you do that, you have to reload it to make sure that you can see all of the latest models. And with this package, this is the name of the plant. It's 15439 with the name of the plant. If I open my asset tracker, here are the maps linked to that plant. And to make sure the pathing is correct, right-click, go to Set Path, and choose the folder that the maps will be located. Now, if you're doing any distributed rendering, it's important to know that they are all on the network where every computer can access those plants. So there's that link. But you'll notice that the geometry on this file is very, very dense. And I hit 7 on my keyboard will actually pop up the polygon count for this geometry. And right now, you can see how many polys we have. Now, if I were to copy this file, or this object, and duplicate it, let's say, we'll do an instance of it, but let's say 10 instances of it, all of a sudden, you can see my poly count jumps up tremendously. Now, that can be a problem not only for your file size and max, but also the way your computer navigates. You can see how my computer's navigation is getting very slow, and it's because it's trying to compute all of that information in the viewport. And so there's a couple of ways around that, but first I'm going to get into the importance of instancing versus copies.